It's your boy Calix Boxing here, starting off another week of boxing talk. Happy Monday to everyone out there. And thanks to all the new subscribers. 41 new subscribers linked onto the channel last week. So appreciate y'all supporting. Leave comments down there, man, and I'll get back to y'all. Leave messages if you want. If you want me to talk about something on the video, hit me up with a direct message. I just figured out how to do direct messages here on YouTube last week. So um, hit me up with messages if y'all got any questions, and I'll get back to y'all. But Errol Spence Jr. fought yesterday against Leonard Bundu, knocked him out in Coney Island. More than that, because I've seen a million videos talking about the fight, breaking down the fight. And there's not much to break down, man. He looked good. I mean, he beat a guy that everybody expected him to beat, but he knocked him out in impressive fashion. That being said, what I really wanted to talk about is the ratings for the fight, because the PBC ratings have been up, down, mostly down as of late, but they're back up. And the reason this is important to talk about is because you have to, if Al Heyman is investing this much into it and his investors are investing this much into this brand, you have to start seeing ratings come back for it to be sustainable. And with this fight, Errol Spence Jr. against a guy who nobody's really even heard of as far as casuals go, it did 4.6 in the market, which translates to over 6 million live viewers, which is huge for a boxing event. It broke a PBC ratings record. And what this mostly had to do with was the lead-in was the USA gold medal game against Serbia in basketball, which drew a huge crowd. That led into it. But many people expected the crowd to go away once the fight started. The people on the couch watching the game, people expected them to turn it off and go to something else. After 75% of that audience stuck around for this fight. So that's big. That's big. Yes, it is a huge lead-in. Yes, that obviously had a lot to do with the ratings, more so than an Errol Spence Jr. fighting, I believe. However, it was still exciting enough for them to stick around for another hour or two to watch Errol Spence Jr. fight. So props to Errol Spence Jr. for that. Props to PBC for getting that slot right after the game and getting these ratings. To me, what does this mean long term? I'm not sure. The problem I've had with the PBC is, like I said, the numbers have fluctuated so much, and for specific fighters, the numbers have fluctuated. So say Danny Garcia had 3 million viewers for this fight, and the next fight he has 1 million viewers. The fighter development, not only as far as the guy in the ring, but as far as the product, hasn't seemed to grow from fight to fight. And that's the main problem I've had with the PBC. So let's see if Errol Spence Jr., if this becomes a household name, this guy becomes a household name, and this is a guy everybody wants to see fight in his next fight, and they're looking for that date in the next fight, and his audience continues to grow, and he becomes a household name, not only in the sport of boxing, but elsewhere. So we'll see. I mean, time will tell with that, but 6 million eyes on this fight. And like I said, they don't know who Bundu is. They don't know Bundu from Adam. So they'll say, man, that guy looked impressive. They don't know maybe that he was supposed to look impressive in this fight. They're just saying, no, this guy looks impressive. I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. And next time I see this guy fight. And that's more commercials that you'll probably be seeing from the PBC directed to casual audiences, and more marketing dollars going towards Errol Spence Jr. to promote him for his next fight. So they'll try to keep the eyeballs on him. But 75% of the audience stuck around. And this was a game, the gold medal game, USA versus Serbia, the basketball game, was a game that was a blowout. And it was a blowout in the first half. So it seemed like the viewership for that game should have went away as the game went on, and then people would have lost interest by the end of the game, and that would have been a bad thing for this fight. But it didn't. It didn't happen. Maybe people stuck around to see the guys get their gold medal, and then they stuck around to see a fight. And there was nothing, no other sports on, and it was just a perfect opportunity to put a fight on, and they took advantage of it. That's probably what happened here, and Errol Spence Jr. reaped the rewards of it because a lot of people saw him fight. We'll see if this translates to anything long term. My big thing is keep this guy active. He didn't exhaust too much energy in this fight, didn't get hurt, so keep him active. Fight him again in 2 or 3 months, man. Get him back in there in November, before the end of the year, Kell Brook or not. All right, and another fight, another video on that possible fight coming up later tonight. I want to save that for another video, but for now, Errol Spence Jr. As far as the fight goes, Baldomir, this reminded me of Canelo versus Baldomir. You had a guy in Baldomir at the time who was never knocked out, had an unbelievable chin. I remember seeing Baldomir take 1,000,000 right hands from Vernon Forrest in a fight and saying, man, that guy is never, ever going to get knocked out. I remember saying the same thing about Margarito until he got knocked out by Shane Mosley. You just, certain guys, you say their chin, they're not going to get knocked out. Bundu is a guy who was never stopped. I'm not going to put his chin on the level of those 2 guys I mentioned, but a guy who was never knocked out, but 41 years old. So obviously over time, it took its toll. Would he have knocked out this guy 5 years ago? I'm not sure. It's a different story, but he did it here. Knocked out a guy who had never been stopped. Keith Thurman didn't do it. What does that mean? Once again, I don't know. And I just hope they keep Errol Spence Jr. active and put him in there. It's time to step him up now. He's with the PBC. There are a ton of PBC fighters at the top of the welterweight rankings. Put him in there with one of them, even if it's not Kell Brook. All right. More on that in a minute. Hit me up. Let me know what y'all think about this. Peace.